Hello, all PC specialists here. I recorded earlier a video, but I'm not sure what happened to it. It didn't want to save. I'm not sure why. So, anyways, this is going to be a Let's Learn SQL tutorial. This is actually the first one of the series. This is going to be going over equal to, and, or, like, between, greater than, less than, not, as well as no values. Before we hop into this, we have to make sure that we have the AdventureWorks a database. I already have it, but below in the video description I have a link there to get it. And so after you download it, the best place to put it is just going to be directly on your C drive. Then you also want to download a SQL Server Management Studio. And then you want to install that. And then so after you install it, open up the program. And then so you'll have a window that looks like mine. So after you have it, you're going to right click, click on Restore Database, and you're going to click on Device, click on these little dots, make sure it says File up top, click Add, scroll all the way up, click on your C drive, and now you're going to select AdventureWorks 2012, a full database backup, back, click OK, hit OK again. Now it'll just load, and then now you just want to make sure the database is okay. So now you're going to click on Verify Backup Media, and you're just going to wait for this thing to get done. So it verified it. You see up top here, it gives you a message. Now you're going to click OK. So really, what basically all of this is going really to build towards is, let me just give you a little background of myself, just so you know. I've been using SQL for probably 3 years now, give or take. I am a developer currently. I work with SQL every single day. I like it a lot, but really the question I always get is it easy to use? Yes, it is easy to use, but also as well at the same time it is also extremely easy to get in over your head. In other words, what really, though it may seem easy, can be extremely hard to do if you A, have never encountered it before, or B, you just basically, you may have the understanding of SQL, but just really that logic is just like where you're missing it. So basically, these videos, I'm not sure how many I'm going to make. It's definitely going to be a decent amount, but anyways, once you get all done watching these videos, you're going to be able to do virtually anything to a database. You're going to be able to query tables. You're going to be able to do loops, while loops that is. You're going to be able to insert into tables, into temporary tables. You're going to be able to use variables to set things. Dynamic SQL will do. We will do stir procedures, triggers. We'll cover everything, like from really A to Z. If there's going to be anything else that you guys would want, or you want me to go over, let me know, please. So really, the first video is just going to be a brief little introduction to this SQL, the commands it has. Not everything, obviously, but just really the beginner's version of it. So now that we have the AdventureWorks database, you're just going to click on New Query. So let me copy this real quick. So you're here, and you're going to click on New Query, or you can hold down the Control key and press N. You get this little window here. So what this window is going to be used for is you're going to be doing all of your code within here. And if you see up top here on the left hand side, it says master. If you click here, this is all of our databases. A database is going to be holding information, is really what it is. Usually now databases are called relational databases. What that means is just that one table links to another table on either a particular ID or multiple IDs. So basically, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Just know that this little drop down here allows you to choose a database. So for today, we're going to be working out of AdventureWorks 2012 database, and let me paste what I have here just so I don't forget, as I will forget. So the first thing is we're going to go to equal to. So before we do this, let's expand AdventureWorks. Just to look at what we're working with. So let us double click on here, or you can hit the plus sign, whichever one you want. Then go to tables. Now we have here all of our tables. I mean, look at this. We have sales.customer, production.work order, person.person, person.person phone. Seems like a lot, right? Well, basically all of this data is going to be related in just like a certain way. One example is person can have a address. Address can have a address. The type, for instance, a person can have a email address, a telephone number, a state, so on and so forth. So really, all of this data relates to one another. You don't know how, you don't have to know how it relates. I just know that it relates. So for this, I figured that the best table to use would be the person.person table, just because it's going to be easy to understand. So basically, whenever you're going to be extracting out information out of a table, you're always going to say a select. This is always going to be your first thing. Now do star, and then I also recommend, if you're not doing this already, to follow along with me, just because it's going to be a lot easier to do that. It's also going to be a lot easier to understand. I know that me personally, if I was just watching this video, I would understand it, but I mean, half hour later, if you were to ask me to do it myself, I would not be able to. So I recommend you follow along with me. So like I said, the first thing is you're going to say select star. Star means everything. It's basically the wild card. Next word is going to be I'm sorry guys, I stutter a little bit. So select star from, and so now we have to provide a SQL server with a table name. In this case, it's called person.person. So person.person, and then you'll see that the SQL server helps us out a little bit. This is called Intellisense, and a lot of time it works, it's great. Other times it's not so useful. So after we get this, we're just going to highlight this and then press execute, or you can just hit execute. It doesn't make a difference right now at this point. So we see here that we have a first name, a middle name, last name, email, promotional, I'm not sure what that is, a demographics, which is XML, which we'll get into way later on. a row GUIDs, a modification date. So we have really all this data. But right now, all this data is just basically meaningless right now. So let's say we have a requirement. Let's say that a manager comes over to you, or she comes over to you. They say that I want to see everyone whose last name equals to Erickson. Let's say, a strange requirement, but let's just say that they're requiring that. So we know what last name is, right? We know that it's within this table. But we just don't know how to say that a last name must be equal to Erickson. Well, that's exactly what you do. Is you say where last name is equal to Erickson. So what we're saying here is we're saying select everything. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Select everything out of this table here where, keep doing this, where the last name equals to Erickson. So what this is going to do is it's going to look through this whole entire table here at one time, only then display us the data where the last name is equal to Erickson. So you can execute this by either clicking F5 or execute. Great. So we see everyone here in this whole entire in the table here, with the last name equals to Erickson. That's great. That's helpful. Your manager is happy now, or she's happy now. So now they say, you know what? I need to see everyone whose, let's say, the first name begins with, or not begins with, but basically the first name is going to be a Mark. Okay, so it's really going to be the same thing. So select star from person where first name equals to Mark. And so a question I usually get is what if I have a lowercase m here, or if it's all uppercase, or if I have this. A SQL Server, it does not matter. It's still going to, it's still going actually to find the marks. It's just looking for the characters. It's not going to be, it doesn't matter of really the case. So now I've found me all the marks. Great. So, what if you need to look for multiple things? What if you need to look for where the first name equals to Mark, the last name equals to Erickson? In this case, what you would do is you would select star from person where, you guessed it, first name equals to Mark. Oops, Mark. And last name equals to Erickson. So you can add onto this as many conditions as you want. You can say where first name equals to Mark and last name equals to Erickson, and email position equal to 2, and person type equals to SC. You can just keep on adding and adding and adding. Okay, so we pretty much we be equals, I think, up enough. So equal to, I'm just going to put done. Okay, and we also did and as well. And let's do or. Okay, so I want to see everything out of the person.person table where the first name is equal to Mark, or the first name equal to Gail. So let me run this, and now we see that either the first name can equal to Mark or it can equal to Gail. What if I change this to and? What do you think is going to happen? We get back nothing, because now what we're saying is that the first name has to equal to Mark and also has to equal to Gail, that's never going to happen, ever, in a million years. So we want to use or here. Okay, let's do another one. So let's say that I want to look for where the first name is equal to Mark, the last name is equal, or the last name is equal to Hansen. So that would look like select star from person dot person where first name equal to Mark, and again, it doesn't matter if it's going to be in all caps or no caps, or last name equal to Hansen. Run this. I now only get this amount of records here. Then, so just so you know, if you don't highlight whatever you're trying to look for, then if you just like execute it or run it, you'll then get back your data here as well as here, because what it's doing is just that it runs these two things together. It's going to ignore your comments. Okay, so I put and there. I'm going to say done. Okay, now let's do like. Okay, so let's erase this. So let's say that I want to look for all of the people, person, where last name is going to be like R. In other words, the last name has to begin with R. I don't care what's after it. It just has to begin with R. So we're going to say last name like and R, but we need to do one extra thing. We need to put a percent sign. So what the percent sign says is that everything after this R I don't care about. So basically it's basically going to be a wildcard, much like a star. It just you just can't use star within here. You need to use a percent sign. So if we run this here, we'll see that this query here brings us back everyone whose last name begins with R. We can also see where the last name ends in R, and all we would do is we would move the percent sign to the beginning rather than to the end. Okay, and now we see everyone whose last name begins with R. We can also say I want to see everyone whose last name has the letter R in it. What you would do is you would just put a percent sign in the beginning, put R, and then put a percent sign at the end. You run this, and you'll see everyone whose last name has a R in it. And you can also add things to it. Like you can say last name needs to have let's say REL. Let's say. So I don't care where it's at, in the beginning, middle, end. It just needs to have REL in there somewhere. Let's get this, and we see these records here. So now we did like, and again you can also add things too. So you can say last name like REL and first name equal to Jerry. Let's say, just so we get back a record. We'll see that we get one. Between. Okay. So let's say that star from person dot person. Let's see that I want to see all of the first names that are between A through H. What we would say is we would say where first name between, literally exactly what we said, between A and H. Let's run this, and now you have your results here. Just as a note, if you're wondering, it's only going to include values up to h. Reason being is we're saying that it's going to do everything that is going to begin with a, so it's going to do a, b, c, so on and so forth, all the way up to h. It's not going to include everything that begins with h. It's only going to do to where it's going to be between a through h, and if that makes sense. We can also do betweens with numbers as well. So let's take this a business entity ID real quick. So erase this, and we'll say where business entity ID between, let's say, 20 and 100. When you're dealing with numbers, you don't have to put around them the single quotes, although you can. You just don't have to. It's not required. So if I do this, it's going to include 20 and 100 as well as everything in between there. Okay, so we did between. A greater than, less than. So let's say that I wanted to return all of the business entities ID that were less than 1,000. So select star from person where business entity ID is less than 1,000. Okay, run this all the way down, and it stops at 999. So I'm not sure if there is in here a record of 1,000, and there probably is, but the reason why it didn't include this is because we're saying that the business entity ID must be less than 1,000. Well, 1,000 isn't going to be less than 1,000. 1,000 is going to be equal to 1,000. So to show that record, if it is there, is we would just say less than or equal to. Then we just put this equal sign right on the outside of less than. So if we run this, there is no 99. Let's change this then to 999. Okay, if we run this, we'll see that it includes the 999, but if we remove this equal sign and then we run it again, 999 is not there because a 999 is not a less than a 999. They are equal to each other. A greater than, what we can say is we can do the opposite. We can say that I want to see all of the business entity IDs that are going to be larger than a 999. And then so this will just run and run and run. So it's just basically going to be getting back the opposite results. So we did this greater than, less than. This is done. Not. So not as well as a no values. They're kind of really used. They're kind of really used together. So let's just dig into this first. I should have put a no values before not. I do apologize. So let's get into no values. Let's say that I want to see everyone who does not have a last name. Well, we see here a null. Think of null as just being a blank. It doesn't have anything in it. So let's try to query that. So select star from person, and you would think that you would put where middle name equals to null. Well, this isn't going to work. Instead, we need to say where middle name is null, and now this is going to work. Now it's going to pull everything that the middle name is going to be null. So so now here's where not comes in. We can say I want to see everything out of the person table where the middle name is not null. So now it's going to pull everything where the middle name is not null. And that's really the only use I use not for. You could do the same thing, or I should say that it's going to produce the same results if you were to say where not a middle name is null. It sounds different, but I mean it just gives you the same result. And you can also do a not middle name is not null, which basically means it is null because it's a double negative. So that's really the only reason I use not, is just for nulls, really. So basically this concludes this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If there is anything else that you want me to include, to go over, please let me know. If there's going to be anything else I can that I can improve on, please let me know. One thing actually I would like to do is just that if you guys do subscribe to my channel once a week, I'm going to be giving a tutoring session for a 1 hour to just basically a random person, who subscribes within that week. So really, that can be used for anything relative to like the SQL. It can be used to issues you're having with it. If you can ask me anything you want, so basically use that to your advantage. Okay, well, again, I thank you guys for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you.